if you're someone who knows what you want to do, what you need to do, and you have goals set for yourself, but you're just not too sure exactly why you're not making any forward progress, then you're going to get a lot of value from this video. Now, today I'm at the gun range right now. Got my Beretta, well, M9A3, and been doing some thinking. A lot of times when we self-sabotage, and oftentimes, most of the time, we know kind of where we want to go. We have a rough idea of kind of what we're aiming for, but we also kind of know what we have to do to get there, but we just don't do it. In other words, we sabotage ourselves and we don't do the things that's going to get us where we want to go. And I know this is something that I've had to do a lot of work on over the last few years, because there's a lot of times where every day kind of feels like the same. It's just boring, same old, it's very monotonous, and you just gotta do boring shit, and it sucks, right? No one ever said it was gonna be easy. If you started this journey, then you probably understand that, and hopefully you're not afraid of hard things, because if you are, then sorry, but you should probably go get a 9-to-5. You're probably not going to make it too far in this space, but nonetheless, if you keep getting in your own way, you know exactly what you need to do, but you're just not doing it. Most of the time, what I've found is it boils down to a lack of clarity around your vision, lack of clarity around your why you're doing the things that you're doing, why you get up every day. And a lot of times when we don't do that, we don't have clarity on it, then it becomes very difficult to push through those hard times. Whereas I find the times when I have extreme clarity on my goals, my vision, my purpose, my mission, exactly what I want my life to look like in every single area of my life. I made another video on this too. It's like the 5 pillars, or the 5-pillar framework or something like that, to build a fulfilling life. And definitely recommend watching that after this video. But I find that it's really easy to kind of get lost, to doubt yourself, question yourself a lot when you lack clarity, right? And I think it's important to have clarity in all 5 areas of your life, right? Fitness, finances, business, family, fun, faith, all that stuff. And when you don't have active goals that you're working towards for each one of those, it's very, very difficult to make forward progress because you don't know where you're going, right? So when you do, though, then that's when it becomes very easy to get up out of bed every day and to actually do the work, do what you know you need to do, and you have a very clear reason why. One of the biggest things that's helped me is having a vision board. And not just any vision board where you print out photos, you cut them up, put them on a little poster and shit, put it on your wall. I mean one where you're really creating the identity of your 10.0 self. You're creating the identity of the person that you're evolving into and becoming. And not just in business in terms of like a revenue number, but the person that you need to become in order to achieve that with ease. And I know a lot of people kind of get caught up on, oh, I'm not quite there yet. Why haven't I hit my goals yet? But the external results come after, and only after, the internal work is done on ourselves. We have to first become that person worthy of building a 7-figure business, building a 6-figure business, building an 8-figure business, leading those teams, right? And building good products, being really good at marketing and sales, team building, systems, processes, ads, content, all that stuff, right? There's all these skills you have to work towards, but it's not so much just about the skills. It's about the mindset as well, and the clarity around where you're going. Because when you think that you've made it, you feel like you've kind of like arrived, you know, life is good, you're comfortable, you're making 10, 20, 30K a month. Like, I'll tell you what, like, Not too much changes after that, I will say. But nonetheless, like, it becomes very easy when it's not about the money anymore, right? Because I think at one point I was motivated away from pain, away from dependence and need and lack and stuff like that. Whereas now, once I kind of like scratched that itch, started making 10, 20, 30K a month, then the money is just a number on a screen at that point, and it really doesn't do anything for you. But my desires or my motivation has shifted towards, from away from pain, now it's towards desire, right? Towards the life that I want to build for myself, towards the body that I want, how I want to be feeling, my faith, my relationships, what kind of fun stuff I want to do. This is fun. This is really fun to me. It's very relaxing and meditative. And then also towards the business that I want to build. How do I want to spend my time? What do I want to do with every day? What tasks and activities do I like doing? What tasks and activities do I not like doing? And how can I design my life in a way that it serves me? How can I build a business in a way where the business serves me? How can I optimize my health and my fitness in a way that it serves me and doesn't do long-term damage and harm, right? How can I practice and develop my faith in a way to serve me as well for the long term? How can I build relationships that are long-term focused? Because when you try to like cut corners and take shortcuts, I talk about this a lot, right? Just extend your time horizon, because the person with the longest time horizon wins, because they don't sacrifice the long term just for quick short-term gains. And what you're doing, you're shooting yourself in the foot when you do that. Don't do that. But it really helps when I map out everything with extreme clarity. And I do this once a quarter, which is why I'm kind of releasing this video right now, because we're coming up to a new season, and it's really important to kind of recalibrate. Maybe some goals you had before aren't as exciting and motivating to you now than they once were. And that's okay. Motivations change, right? But it's important to kind of recenter yourself and ground yourself back to what's actually important to you, because otherwise you'll be stuck in a reactive cycle rather than being proactive. Whereas when you're reactive, then you're just doing things for the sake of doing things, and you're putting out fires all the time, and it sucks. But when you're proactive, then that's when you actually make shit happen. That's when you get things done. That's when you actually make forward momentum, forward progress towards where you're trying to go. And I see way too many people get caught up in being reactive because they don't have something strong enough. They don't have a strong enough vision pulling them towards doing the work and doing the hard things, right? So if you're feeling lost, you're feeling stuck, and you're just kind of like not too sure what you're doing, and you've been plateaued, you've been stuck for a while, I suggest you spend some time, whip out the journal, and really just like map out those pillars and figure out what you actually want out of life. What do you want your life to look like this time next year? I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier and it'll come a lot quicker than you might think. You might think it's a big challenge, it's a big task, whereas in reality, you just have to get clear on what you want, and then you can reverse engineer the steps that you need to take to get there. And a lot of times this can be a boring thing, right? Like doing the work can be very, very boring. Planning out the vision can be boring, it can be hard. You might not have a lot of clarity right now, but just ask yourself, what do I want life to look like? Because I know personally for me at home, like when I'm home here, it's kind of boring. But boring's good, because when you optimize for boring, it leaves no room for anything else but the work, right? And if you actually do the work, then you're going to get to where you want to go, because nothing happens unless you make stuff happen. The outputs that you want only come after the inputs that you put in, not the other way around. Right? Simple enough. Simple enough to understand, but to really grasp that and to take action on it and implement it, that's a whole nother story, because a lot of people don't really have clarity on that. They don't really know what they're aiming for, so then they don't know what kind of inputs to do. And I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago, and I was training for my ultra, and it was by Taylor Welch. Been digging a lot of his stuff recently. It's good stuff. And anyways, he was saying, I forget who said this. It might have been Warren Buffett, something like that. But the quote was, poor people are doing the wrong things. Rich people do the right things. But wealthy people own the right things. And to go from poor to rich, you got to do the right things, which means you have to do the right inputs. So the things that you do every single day have to be the right things. And if you don't know what those right things are, because you don't know what you're even trying to do in the first place, you're going to inevitably plateau and spin your tires. You're not going to go anywhere, because you're stuck, you're plateaued, you're stagnant, and you're comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of success. So when you're comfortable, then you're not very motivated to take action and do things to make a difference and make a change in your life. Because, quite frankly, life is good, man, right? When life is good, there's not a lot of motivation to make it better, unless you have that deep desire and extreme clarity on that vision that you want. Spend some time visualizing what you want your life to look like a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. How's it going to feel when you get home after you just made another 30 grand today? Go home to your beautiful wife, greeting you at the door, give you a big hug. Little kiddos running up to you, grabbing around your legs, saying, hey, Daddy, we missed you. Think about that. How's that going to feel? And what can you do today and tomorrow and the next day to get you closer to that? Right? When you go to the swimming pool with your kids and you're the best looking person there, in the best shape, everyone's looking at you. You're turning heads as you walk in. Not only the appearance and the physical side, but also how you feel. You have the most energy. You can keep up with your kids. You can make crystal clear decisions from a grounded place rather than an emotional place. How's that going to feel? One thing that really helped me was mapping out that vision board with extreme clarity, with both visuals, affirmations, goals, character traits, how I'm going to look, how I'm going to feel, where I'm going to live, what my house looks like, what my cars look like, what all the toys look like, what my family looks like, what my friends, my circle, my network looks like, what I look like, how I think, how I act, how I feel, my habits, what I do every day. And then when you're faced with doing the work and doing the hard things, it makes it a lot easier. When you remind yourself 2-3 times a day, first thing when you wake up, last thing you do before you go to bed. is you not only read the vision board, you study it, you look at it, but you experience it, you feel it, you visualize it. How are you going to feel? How are you going to think? How damn good is that life going to be? Okay? And when you do that, it becomes a lot easier to do the work, do the hard stuff, do the boring things, because you're going to be pulled towards it very, very easily. And especially when you come to a crossroads with a decision to make, whether it's to take some sort of action, to do this thing you've been putting off for a while, to do the work that you know you should be doing, but you just haven't been, ask yourself, would 10.0 Jeremy do that? Or would he go onto the couch right now, kick his feet up, throw on a movie? Would he record that VSL that he needs to record? Plan it out? Make it a banger? Or would he not? Would he say, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, what's the rush, right? But the thing is, most people these days, they just kind of survive. They don't thrive. They exist. They don't live. And I don't know about you. I don't want to be one of those guys. I want to be someone who grabs life by the balls every single day. Somebody who, when you're not around, and people are talking about you, they talk about you like you're some sort of myth, mythological creature, a legend, a god. When people defend your name when you're not around, because they respect you so much, because you respect yourself so much, because you don't compromise on your vision and your standards and your identity. But instead you take forward progress and you take steps towards that, becoming that better version of yourself, becoming that 10.0 version of yourself every single day. And the more you respect yourself, the more integrity you have to yourself regarding your vision, meaning you take action, you do the things, you keep the promises that you made to yourself, and you actually do the things you told yourself you're going to do. That's integrity. And only until you do that, until you can trust yourself, how do you expect other people to trust you? If you can't even trust yourself, you can't even keep your own word. It's going to be very, very difficult. Right? So, that said, really just want to make sure you get extreme clarity on where you want to go, exactly what you want your life to look like, map it out step by step, pillar by pillar, to a disgusting amount of detail. And when you do that, then you know exactly what you need to do. It's gonna be a hell of a lot easier to show up and do that stuff. It's not a matter of just doing it one time, making a vision board and kind of looking at it every now and then. You really, really have to study it. You have to experience it. You have to feel it. Write out like how people would talk about you at your funeral. How do you want people to talk about you when you're gone? What do you want them to say about you? I know you could say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'm dead, right? Gone anyways. But like, what the hell is the point of living? If you have that attitude, what do you like? Just give up already, you know? I think it's dumb. I think we should all strive to leave a big impact and do great things while we're here. And if you're watching my channel, we shouldn't even be having that, like, have to have that conversation, because you already know. But yeah, sometimes we just need a bit of a reminder, right? And the periods in my life where I've had the most exponential growth is when I look at my vision board, I study it for about 10 to 15 minutes. First thing I do when I wake up. And then sort of around lunchtime, halfway through the day, I go through it again. I tell myself how I'm going to feel. Let's say you have resistance towards sales calls right now, right? You get nervous, you get anxious when you have a sales call on your calendar. You start making up weird stories in your head, like, man, like, fuck, this guy didn't fill out the form very well. Like, he's probably gonna be a dick. I'm like, like, you just get in your own head, and then you don't even want to take sales calls. But that's just like that's literally just the way you wired your brain. And the good thing about that is you can change it, right? Because you installed it, so you can uninstall it just as easily. Takes a little bit of work for sure, but it's doable. And these are the kind of things that the top 1%ers do that nobody else does. They take the time out of the day to take this stuff seriously. And let's say, for example, like I said, you are having resistance towards sales calls. Then imagine if every single day you tell yourself over and over and over, man, I love taking sales calls. It's an opportunity for me to change somebody's life, to help them make the decision that they know they need to make, but they're just scared to make. They're hesitant, right? And that's not them. It's their old identity, their old character, or their current one, grabbing them by the ankles. They're trying to grow. They want to level up, but their ego and their current identity is just latching on to their ankle and pulling them back down. That's where that fear comes from, right? So if you tell yourself and you rewire your brain to say, I love helping people get out of that. I love helping people get out of their own way and take action, invest themselves. Because like when you invest in yourself, all you're doing is you're just telling yourself that you're worth it. That's really all it is. And then you also get some steps, like some clarity on the steps in front of you to take, right? But you're really just telling yourself that you believe in yourself, that you are worth it and you can actually do it, that your vision and your goals are actually worth it. And so when you rewire your brain like that towards sales calls, for example, then you start to look forward to them because it's an opportunity to help somebody and impact their life and change their life. So then you don't view them as an enemy anymore. You view them as somebody that you actually want to help, right? Like the coaching relationship starts in the sales call. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. So then over time, after you keep telling yourself that story over and over and over, it's going to really just drill that in. And that's going to become reality. Then you won't even have to really do that too much because now you'll be thinking like you have a sales call book in, you're like, man, I can't wait to talk to this person. Can't wait to see what they're all about and like really see if I can actually help them and serve them and impact them, right? Whereas before, if you're like, fuck, another sales call, like, and then you just have like a negative energy and perspective towards it, guess what? They're not going to turn out very well. You're probably not going to make many sales. And that goes with all sorts of things, right? So when you can kind of reprogram your mind to believe that stuff, then it becomes a hell of a lot easier to achieve the things you want because you're thinking, and you're acting like the person that you need to become who achieves your goals with ease. That's really the name of the game. So that said, it's getting cold out. My hands are freezing. Thanks for coming to the range with me today. Catching the tail end of the little session here. But just had some thoughts I wanted to share with you. And I hope this can inspire somebody to level up and to recenter yourself and get extreme clarity on exactly what you want. So then it becomes a lot easier to do the work. And when you do the work, guess what? You get the result. Simple as that. So, especially when things take a long time, which they do, good, they're meant to, it becomes a lot easier to not give up. When you have just unshakable faith that you're going to make it happen, you're unstoppable. So that's it for this video. Appreciate you guys. Lots of love. See you in the next one.